Hi, Julie.
Hi, Sarah.
You haven't done
Well,
this for over a year.
has it been that long? Time flies when you're over a certain age. But yeah, a year is a long time.
Yeah. Well, July seemed like if we were going to do it, July would be the month to come back to talk about because it's quite the people have been talking about it. They've been talking about it.
People aren't talking about anything else, but I don't know what they're saying. There's a lot of going on about this basket.
Yeah.
Although I did like it. I did like hearing Erin call it a cauldron.
Oh, even better. Even better.
Cauldron is good.
Yeah,
Although I think of it as a basket. You know how like a tisket, a tasket, a green and yellow basket, like it's swinging all over the place. Things are falling out of it. It's like, oh my God, it's a basket, all right.
right.
So I think just right off the bat, I want to say about the basket pattern, which is coming to an end. But of course, it's not coming to an end. It's something, it was exact between the 15th and the 25th of July, but it's there for even a couple of years, down the
Mm,
road. So it's a compelling pattern. Pluto, Neptune, Uranus, Jupiter, all in exact aspect to each other, all at 4 degrees.
hmm
And as an astrologer, it kind of makes your Yeah, it's like your hair gets on fire. But a lot of astrologers have been that I've seen, or listened to, have been promising like the new age is going to come, the aliens are going to land, like it's going to be awesome, it's going to be great. But the way to do astrology is
hmm
to look at the aspect and then look at the world and ask yourself, what's happening?
hmm
And what's happening is a manic ride. What's
hmm
happening is quite manic
hmm
and nobody knows how to control it,
hmm
right? There certainly are cooler heads that could and should prevail, but there's a wild thing going on that nobody can tame, or, it's like a wild horse. It's the year of the horse. What can I say? So the year of the horse gallops along. And I think the basket pattern, if you really want to understand it, has a kind of manic energy to it,
And is
at
that
least
because fire and
politically.
air? Is it because of because they're mostly in fire and air, which as we know, what air does to fire.
That's right. And there's no earth to damp it down and no water.
Right. So nobody's containing this runaway fire, which is what we, have been experiencing in Ontario,
That's
is these
right.
fires and other places too. So
Yeah,
that's
the
that's
world is on
definitely an
fire in
illustration
Spain
of
and Paris and France and oh my God. Yeah, in the East
hmm
Canada, West Canada. Yeah.
yeah. So
Yeah,
that's
and
one
then some
illustration. But
some
because
weird person is blaming us for the smoke. Like, really? That's not going to help, is it?
yeah,
Right, it's crazy people.
that's a bit nutty. Yeah.
It's nutty, yeah. There's nuttiness going on, but it's manic. It's like living inside the mind of a manic person. We are all held
hmm
hostage. So I think it's important to
hmm
understand even trines, even sextiles, given the nature of the planets, but given the conditions on the earth, right? Astrology is about as above, so below. So the
hmm
below is showing you what the above is naming. And we have to learn,
hmm
somebody has to get on the back of that horse and figure out how to ride it. Not going to be me.
No.
So I think this opens up a conversation that you and I should have about how to use astrology in times of incredible collapse, chaos, and change, right? Because
hmm
bottom line, even if you don't feel stable or calm about it, is that the basket pattern is saying that change is here.
hmm
Chaos maybe,
hmm
but chaos is just change moving too fast. So
Yeah.
I would like to ask you, because I revere and respect you as a healer and an astrologer, what you think the tools are that people need to navigate such a high, wild, and free time. besides the information, or I mean the wisdom. Astrology is not information, it's really wisdom. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, and it's been so helpful ever since I've the first time I met you when you were doing my daughter's chart.
Way back
And you were
when,
looking,
yeah.
I remember, you were looking at this two-dimensional piece of paper with her chart on it, but as you were looking at it, it was like you were creating her in 3D because you understood who she was by looking at a chart, right? So I was like, wow, this is powerful.
Yeah.
And I understood the wisdom because you were helping me to see who she was and not who I was perceiving her to be with all
Mhm.
of the lenses that parents put over where they
Yeah,
project
yeah.
themselves onto. So it was really helpful to be like, oh yeah, that thing I'm worrying about is not what I should be worrying about. I should be worrying about this. No. But
Right.
focusing on this over here that I'm not, and this over here that I'm worrying about is not really an issue. It's my issue.
Mm.
But so it really helps you to learn where to focus, learn what to focus on, frame what's happening, understand what's happening so that you can align with what's happening instead of
Hmm.
just what's happening. And then as you like to do in your readings, to be able to, put it in perspective or give meaning to it, understand what it's teaching you, what the opportunity is.
Right.
But being like a five-time fire sign myself, I have some experience with too much fire. And so that's
Yeah.
why I've dedicated my life to learning how to relax. Like my whole life centers around learning how to relax my nervous system, how to bring myself back into center. And one thing we all know about fire is that it's extroverting. And it's always thinking about what's happening out here. How can I fix out here? What can I do out here? And the only power we have really is in here. So the first thing we have to learn how to do is to draw our perceptions back and our energy back into our center and into our core and not be carried away by what's happening out here and not try to fix it out here, but to fix it here or to be focused here.
So that's
And
interesting. Is that the notion of the core pattern reading that you do? Like the word core? Yeah.
yeah, that's part of it is because essentially most of the time we're overlaying our internal psychic uh, material. We're overlaying it over what's happening in the world anyway. So if we understand where what's happening in our psychic world, what's happening internally, we understand where our wounding is and where our perceptions are constantly trying to work themselves out. We can do it with ourselves. We don't have to try to get involved in the chaos and try to work it out there. Once we work it
Right.
out in ourselves, our own psychic material, then we can respond to the world rather than react to it from this
Right. And
conditioned
I
place.
I find that my core pattern readings have really matched up with my astrology in a way that allows me to use the information about my chart in a really, I guess you could say, visceral way, in a way in
Mhm.
terms of how I engage with other people or how I feel when something happens. It's an incredible way to bring the wisdom of astrology together with the wisdom of the body and the psyche. Yeah, I love it. I love those readings. Wonderful.
Yeah.
So you're
Well, as
actually
you know,
teaching
I've done,
people to do readings, to do core pattern readings?
yeah. So over the years, over the last 20 years, I've done countless uh, core pattern readings. So telling people where the karmic beginning of this pattern that plagues them in this lifetime starts, and then explaining how to reweave that story. And most of the people that I think I've given readings to, they've also had astrology with you, and it always cross references. It's always you
Always.
can see,
Always. It's
right?
wild.
Like, you can see how the two correlate. It's quite fun. Um,
Hmm.
and so, yeah, and then in the last 3 years, I studied with my teacher to be able to then now teach other people how to do these readings and learn how to help others. So another way of people learning how to bring their skills and their intuitiveness and their capacity to to use their gifts to help other people.
It's really important to
But
do
we
that.
also,
Yeah. Yeah. I
we
feel
also
that as an
have to be
astrologer that
very,
I have to make astrologers to go out into the world and do
yeah,
astrology. Go ahead. Sorry, I interrupted you.
the world needs people to help people. We all need to help each other right now at this time.
Mhm.
And so being able to harness your gifts to be able to help other people is very meaningful. And that's as you know, like part of the problem right now with AI is people are losing track of
Yeah.
why they're here, what their purpose is, and
Yeah.
well, why bother? Because AI can do it, and AI can't do everything. We are very amazing beings, and we need to use all of our skills to support each other.
Yeah, I feel that when I do readings, like there's a transmission that happens human to human, even on Zoom. And when people read the same kind of thing from AI, they don't get the transmission. They don't get the energy. It's like mercurial. It doesn't actually leap from one awareness to another. It can't.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. Yeah, and there is a transmission with the readings and with the astrology reading that you feel that touches you energetically in your
Yes.
not just your two-dimensional mind. That's like, well, I
Yeah.
understand. No, it gets you right in the heart.
I don't
So
think you can hold on to it in any useful way if it doesn't also touch your viscera somewhere. Yeah. Yeah.
yeah, and so learning both, astrology and the core pattern readings, you really have to be able to ground your own energy and ground your own nervous system. So you do need to learn things like qigong and breathing practices and massage and acupuncture. You need to have all of those things to support you.
So these are things I do, largely inspired by the work I've done with you as you being my healer,
Mm.
right? I mean, even my first Qigong was you. You were the first person
Oh,
who gave me a little Qigong demonstration, which led me to, various people. But I remember it. It was the five organs. It was great. And I still probably could do it if I the exact way that you taught it to me. I did it for a while. Yeah. Yeah.
that's so I forgot about that. I think I have a memory of us in your kitchen doing it.
That's right. You gave me five moves and I did them. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
And the shiatsu and the acupuncture, it's all really part of what allows me to continue to work even at this stage of my life, which,
Yeah.
won't last forever. It's really important to me that people know I'm not going to be here forever. And that there are other astrologers, you can go to. And yeah, you're one of my favorites, but I have a list if anybody wants it, if they don't want to wait for me, because yeah, I'm working slower. I'm working slower, yeah. Um, so, well, I get really excited when I think of matching up astrology with other modes of healing, like what you do, and that especially when it's the body, when it's in the body, it's work that grounds it in the body and the being, feelings and stuff like that. So it's good.
Mhm. Yeah.
Um, so, there's a full moon coming up in a few days. On the 29th exactly, I think. Let's see here. I have it in my book. Yes, at 10:35 a.m. on the 29th. So 28th, 29th, and 30th. And that full moon is really hooking the whole basket pattern, right? The
Mhm.
full moon it's at 6 degrees of Aquarius, and it's opposite, or the moon is conjunct Pluto, Jupiter's opposite Pluto, Neptune's trining the sun and the moon and sextiling the moon, etc. And Uranus is in there too. So it's a very hot button full moon. I don't know what
Well,
we're in for.
the basket is, what, everything you've talked about in terms of, the manic chaos that that it has been in ungrounded. And it's been coming together all of July and then peaking around mid-July. Then this full moon has got to be sort of the revealer, the thing that's going to show us
Hmm.
how we're really feeling, what our true emotions are. Is
Right.
It's like peaking, kind of like a
I think so. And I don't want to say that the only thing that's happening is manic chaos.
Mhm.
There's amazing things happening with food production and these I don't know, farmers' hubs, so that they don't get swallowed up by Loblaws, small farmers. I'm so excited about that. Like there's so many exciting innovations around alternative energy and how to really use AI, how to retrain it and restrain it. And, there's a million great things going on. But I think it's ridiculous to ignore the fact that there's a whirlwind firestorm that's also going on with oil and war and climate and fire and et cetera, and heat,
Yeah. Okay.
right?
Fair. Yeah.
And so it's all happening.
Hmm.
And nobody can 360 it. Nobody can see it in 360 all the time. Not even me. But yeah, I think we have to choose the the path maybe. And the full moon is a very good time to get it. The idea of the full moon is it lights up the night, right? So
Hmm.
we see things that we maybe haven't seen before and that we pay attention to what that's telling us and showing us. Yeah. Yeah.
Hmm. Yeah, it should be interesting. I mean, one thing, just because I believe like Uranus and Gemini is the aspect that is there for 20 years, 14 years or
Uranus is in a sign for 7 years,
7 years. Okay.
Neptune for 15, Saturn for 2.5,
Yeah.
Pluto for 23.
Mm, right. And these are signs that have just recently shifted out of being in earth and water signs and shifted
Yes,
into fire and
all of
water.
them, all of them.
That's showing like definitely we're in a new era. We're in a new stage of
Right.
things.
So the only thing that's shifting from fire to earth is Chiron.
Mm,
And Chiron went into earth and then it's going to go back into fire again in September. And then somewhere in 27, it'll go back into Taurus and stay there. But Chiron is saying, well, how do you like 50% tariffs? What do you like about the Gordie Howe Bridge? What do you think about the fact that your country paid, gazillions to build it and isn't going to get all the money back forever? Like, wow, right? Chiron always shows you the wound and then the
mm,
wisdom.
mm.
What have you learned from it? Hmm.
Like around earth, like money and
Yeah,
like
right. That's right. Taurus. Yeah.
the value of things. Yeah.
Mhm.
So, um,
So that's it
so
for
these
Earth, though.
the wounded healing spot is the only place that we have earth in for a while.
Yeah, and it's in September it goes back to fire.
Okay. So, um, so then we've got the Pluto in Aquarius, and that is, I believe, showing some of the dark side of AI. It's bringing up as Pluto.
Pluto's job is to expose the shadow, the depth, the dark, and destroy. Pluto is the great destroyer, but it's also the great creator. Out of destruction always comes creation.
Right.
So Pluto went through Capricorn, and I mean, Pluto went into Capricorn, and the that subprime mortgage problem of 2008, it showed us everything. Nobody went to jail. That was the big message,
Mhm.
right? And we paid for it and paid for it and we paid for it. The 1% rakes it in and we pay for it. So that was Pluto showing that the hierarchy is rotten.
Right.
Then it went into Aquarius. Every time Pluto went into Aquarius, like it goes back and forth, right? Every time there was a big AI news in the news cycle, big time interview with this person, long-term statements about the wonders of it or the dangers of it, right? And one of them was the day that a guy, Hinton, I think, said, this is dangerous. He was like the AI expert who said, we can't trust this. Um, so Pluto in Aquarius shows us all the inevitable. rot in the systems that we have created and are trying to create that will not allow us to enter the age of Aquarius.
Mhm.
Like the song, harmony and understanding, sympathy and trust abounding. Yeah. It's showing us the other side of Aquarius, which is power, control, and regimentation, right?
Mhm.
Organize. It likes to organize the system.
Mhm. Right. It doesn't like anybody not going into the
Right.
system, very much like the Matrix. Yeah.
So on my Patreon right now, I'm doing I'm calling it retrospective, and I'm reteaching, you could say, the workshop I did in 2018 called "And the Way Leads On," and and the subtitle was "Getting to and Through 2020."
Hmm.
Right? So I'm looking back at 2018 and how it looked from there.
Ooh,
It's actually blowing my mind, actually.
that's
Um,
cool. Because it's
you know,
eight. That's 8 years. 2000, like
Yeah,
eight.
and I mean, and I was planning it before 2018. Like I could see it coming. I could see the planets going into and I was like, the revolution is going to be there. Whatever it is, it's going to be the revolution. But I could also see this 2020 year. Like you could see it. I didn't know it would be COVID. I didn't. I mean, it was easy to predict it could be AI though. Yeah.
Tell me. In 2000 and August 2019, I remember because you said it with very like
Looking
serious.
bad, looking intense.
It
Right.
looks like it'd be a
But
pandemic.
the reason I'm bringing it up isn't just to tell you that I'm doing this on Patreon, but it's also that there was the Jupiter Saturn conjunction that happens every 20 years, which is called the Great Conjunction or the Grand Conjunction, happened on the solstice day, I think of December 2020, at 0 degrees of Aquarius. If that isn't a bell ringer to trying to get to the age of Aquarius. And then in 2023, 24, Pluto entered Aquarius. So the
Mhm.
next great conjunction is in 20 years, 2020, 2040, right? And that will be in another air sign, but it won't be the same. And Pluto will be in Aquarius till like 2043.
Okay.
So between the Great Conjunction and the journey of Pluto through Aquarius, we have to clean up our Aquarian act before the age of Aquarius is going to let us in.
Mhm. Okay.
And it matters who gives you a reading. It matters where you get your guidance from,
Mhm. Yeah.
right? And because we live in such an inflated time, people are so drunk on their individuality from the 20th century. This is not new. um that's the other reason why it's so important to come from the core, to know that you have a core, to struggle with what the core message is, and then to connect it to the deconstructing that's going on with Pluto and Aquarius around our systems, the
Mhm.
blueprint, the expectations we have that aren't manifesting.
Mhm. Mhm. Yeah.
Having been born with the expectation that I can actualize myself and discovering that there aren't enough resources left for
Mhm.
me to necessarily feed my kids is
Mhm.
quite a shock.
Yeah. Yeah, it's quite it's ta things have taken quite the turn from that idealistic era of individuality, of, fulfilling your potential and individuating, to what we're looking at now. It's like, wait, where did we make the wrong turn? That we are now where we are, standing in um people that have grabbed all the resources
Mhm.
and are looking to hoard them more and just build and leave the masses with not very much.
Right. And
Yeah.
all the progress we thought we were making.
Mhm.
So it's yeah. Pluto plays hardball. I mean,
Hmm.
Pluto in Scorpio was AIDS. Pluto in Sagittarius was satanic panic. You know, yeah, Pluto really does take us through their paces. And you have to remember that before 1930, when Pluto was discovered, it wasn't the same thing. Pluto was discovered in Cancer around the time of plutonium.
Oh.
Pluto Pluto represented the the growth of nuclear power and depth psychology,
Mhm.
right? Those things really grew powerful when Pluto was discovered, after Pluto was discovered.
Right. And it's to understand each of the planets rules a certain aspect of life, right? So it's there, each planet is not there just to harass us. It's there as an expression of a human experience. And it is part of the human experience to have to bring up what is no longer, what is rotten, what is corrupt, what is um underneath the surface that we're not aware of, like the
Mhm.
shadow, for instance. And
Right.
so, like depth psychology, it's necessary for these things to come to the surface so that we can see them, so that we can be aware this is the rot, as you said, this is what's sick, this is what is killing us, this is what we need to transform, use this raw energy so that we can then create health and create wholeness and create the well-being that we need to have. So it's
That's
not just
right.
harass us. It
Right.
has a it's like liquid plumber. It has
No, it's not. They don't harass us, they reflect us. They are a perfect mirror. And that's how humans have used astrology since the beginning. It mirrors us, it doesn't manage or create us. That's why
right,
you can't look at an astrological pattern and make a surefire prediction. I mean, the world is littered with predictions that haven't come true, especially recently. And I have a friend who sought me out because I was the only person who knew that Trump was going to win the first time. There was no other person that she was reading, or listening to but me, who said it's surefire
right,
because he had great transits and she didn't, right?
right.
She had squares, he had trines. Pick your winner, right? It was way simpler than most people would allow. Um, so the idea that we can predict the future isn't as strong as the fact that we can use the planets to navigate whatever we're dealing with,
Right.
right? So I
This is
get
what
reams of clients who are having really good aspects from this basket pattern. And then I get ones who are having really difficult aspects from the basket pattern,
right,
right? But they're both dealing with the same crazy world.
right. And it's just hitting their chart in
Hmm.
specific ways that, but to your point, just because it's aspecting in a positive way, it's good that I mean it's supportive and helpful, but the challenges also could end up being helpful as well. Like the challenges
Ultimately,
that you
they will be. Ultimately, they will be. It has to change. It has to change,
Mhm.
right?
Yeah,
So change is inevitable. Neptune in Aries is an interesting one. It just began in January and it lasts for 15 years. And Neptune in Aries is a kind of weird, it's like short circuit, right? Because you got all that fire in Aries and Neptune is, the sea. So I think Neptune in Aries is a really, over the 15 years, is asking us to um, look deeply at what propels us as individuals, right? Again, I find a lot of people really miss the point that Aries is the sign of war.
Mhm.
There's just more and more war. Even if the wars shouldn't be happening or could have been avoided, they're happening. Like, what the
Mhm.
hell? Right? So Neptune says, yeah, you keep riding the ego, you're gonna get, it's gonna short circuit, you're gonna start fires, you're gonna have problems. So what's the deep, I suppose you could say that Neptune in Aries asks the question is, what's the deeply meaningful spiritual aspect of having an identity?
Mm.
And maybe we should all be bodhisattvas, but maybe that's a big ask, right? Maybe there's something else, like maybe each of us has to figure that out in our own way.
Well, I think war would, if you if you do go to war, I think that that happened a lot in the 70s after going to war, or even in the 50s or in the World War One and Two, when there was this, sort of glamour and glory around going and, going to war, and then the soldiers coming back, and the disillusionment of what the truth is about what that is would definitely give
That
you
was
a
much
sense.
worse in Vietnam. Yeah. Yeah.
So one would hope you wouldn't have to go to war to have that realization that it's horrendous. But I don't think anybody's buying that going to war is has a glory to it. I don't think anyone really is buying that.
No, maybe just about three people, but the the journey of Neptune through Aries is making a bit of a mess of all the identity, all the preciousness of our identity, and asking us to be understand that everybody has an identity.
Mhm.
Everybody, everything will fight for its life. Every
Mhm.
living thing is made to sustain its own life as an individual. I don't know if, I mean, I guess, like bees don't have amygdalas, but we do. Right.
But that is in them to fight for their life if they had to, right?
Yes, every living thing defends its own life. Right. So that Neptune in Aries says, yes, you're not the only living thing.
Mm. What if we're a collective?
Yeah.
And then Jupiter and Leo. What would you say about Jupiter and
Well,
Leo?
Jupiter went into Leo, and I went to two movies in a week. I never go to the movies. I thought, wow, this is Jupiter and Leo. What's next? Um, so I think Jupiter and Leo in a time that wasn't quite so crazy is like, I want to have fun. I want to express myself. I want to be creative, right? I think in the basket pattern, it's flaring. It's feeding the fire of the manic. That I don't know, narcissists think they can get away with anything, and they are getting
Mhm.
away with a lot. That's true. Yeah. So, um,
But what about Jupiter and Leo opposing um
Pluto.
Pluto in a, like what is that about? Like power being Pluto, and then Jupiter being
Well, it's
that.
the sky god of thunderbolts,
Mhm.
um, opposing the god of the underworld or the goddess of the underworld, depending on how you see it. And the underworld goddess is deeply engaged in transforming the systems, and Jupiter is saying, no, no, um, we want to express ourselves. We want to um, we want art. We want, fun. We want sport. We want the World Cup, right?
Right.
Like the World Cup, Jupiter and Leo is the World Cup, and then the other games and these games and that games. That's what we want, and we want to charge a lot of money for that. So it's kind of uh, if you don't see the flaw in the World Cup, so to speak, then you're not getting the opposition between Pluto and Jupiter.
Right.
Yeah. But you still might like the World Cup. You know what I mean? Like Jupiter, Jupiter's not a planet that is going to give anything up.
No.
Um, I think that I'd like to say that and this may be when we do the next planetary pictures, the high. Jupiter right now in this week. So if you're watching this and the full moon already happened and it's after the 29th of July, you can still go back and reference it, right? Um, so it's activating Pluto, but it's activating the whole basket pattern. In October, Venus is
Mhm.
going to go retrograde. And when Venus goes retrograde, it's going to square Pluto. So it's not going to activate the basket. It's not going to kick Uranus and Neptune around, but it is going to square Pluto. So that's going to be the next time that we have to pay a lot of attention to Pluto's mandate, I think. So I would say between July and September, October, there's a Pluto is definitely very important to pay attention to in your chart,
Mhm.
in your life, whatever.
Okay. And some of the themes could be like with Venus around like money, females in your life. Um,
Venus retrograde is what you need to let go of so that you can get on with something. So you have to do the letting go up until October 23rd, and then somewhere after that, you do the getting on with it because now you've let go of the dead weight. Now you're on your way.
so
It's a
there'll be
very
a
interesting Venus retrograde, but I think we should save it for
okay.
next time because it goes retrograde in Scorpio, which is hard for Venus, but it goes direct in Libra, which is Venus's rule. So it closer to the time, it'll be more relevant, I think. But I'm just saying that in terms of um, Pluto, which we seem to be talking about a lot, that the time frame is strong in there between now and then.
Okay. Well, I definitely I want to do that research with you on the path that lies ahead, that workshop that you were talking about on Patreon, where you
Oh
are
yeah,
redoing it. Yeah. To
retrospective.
look,
Yes.
that's it, where you were talking about what you were seeing that's coming on in the path that lies ahead, and now having gone through the path to look back and
Well,
see
basically what I'm
what was
seeing personally as I cobbled the material together, I'm trying to bring it into the present tense and the future tense, like I'm rewriting it. But what I'm actually grappling with myself is how one thing leads to another. This isn't just a basket pattern that has sprung up out of no place. All these planets were digging into the earth and water signs before it came around to this. So it's like all that was going on in those years led to what's happening now, right? Led to the forward push. And you know, AI AI may be the biggest thing that we're looking at, and the potentials, both pro and con of AI, are overwhelming to people, right? And um, I'm always recommending to people the Substack called How Not to Use AI. It's brilliant because it doesn't tell you not to use AI. It tells you how not to use AI, but how to use it, right? And even me, I won't employ the things she's teaching because I don't need to, but I'm interested in it. I'm interested in a lot what she's saying about AI. So I think that I think it's overarching. It's one of the bigger problems that we have that we're dealing with. And I think between then and now, nobody did anything to restrain it. And so the pattern, the basket pattern comes along and it's like, boom, it can do anything it wants, right?
right.
Yeah. So that I'm seeing that. I'm seeing how it happened. I'm seeing the astrology of where it happened and how it happened and what the events were that people thought didn't matter so much, how Trump got elected for the second time. Yeah.
Yeah, it's interesting because when people were talking, when I was watching different astrologers talk about the Barbo's basket, they were using the analogy that this astrologer that came up with this,
Planetary Barbara,
well, he
yeah.
didn't call it, but he was basically saying that when the outer planets like Pluto, Jupiter, Neptune, and
Hmm.
Uranus are together, that was what was happening in 2020. That's like not a great time, but when they start to spread out, they that's when they're more benefic. But I hear you saying that in a different way. It was like all that trouble started in 2020 and now it's expressing itself. Now it's being released, which is a bit different, right? It's a bit different,
I
but it's
actually think
similar
it
in that.
started in 2017. It started when Uranus went into Taurus. That's when I first noticed it. Uranus went into Taurus and it went back into Aries, but it went into Taurus in the where maybe it was where was it? Maybe it was 2018, 2017. Yeah, it's 2018. Yes. Yes. In the spring of 2018, Uranus went into Taurus and Mars was in Aquarius and it went retrograde. And
Oh,
Mars squared Uranus. And I remember looking at that and saying, oh, it's trade wars. It's trade wars. Trade being Taurus, Uranus and Taurus, war being Mars, squaring it. So
mhm,
in that spring and summer, that's what we were dealing with. And
mhm.
yeah, I have it circled in my ephemeris here. Um, so in May of 2018, and then yeah, and then again, um, I don't know. Anyway, that was the beginning of the story. That's what I
Okay.
think. I think
Mhm.
that was the beginning of the story. And then Uranus went back into Taurus in March of 2019, and Mars was in Taurus. It didn't conjunct, but it was in Taurus, right? So, um, Taurus is a powerful, belligerent sign when it doesn't, yeah, it wants what it wants. Yeah.
I do remember that summer in Toronto was the most on record, the most violent summer of the on record. There was a lot of
Wow. Wow.
shootings,
Yeah.
a lot of that was the year of the Danforth shooting.
Yeah. That was bad. Right.
So I remember very well. And I remember thinking, oh, I didn't realize that Mars in Aquarius would be so brutal. So that was an
Mars is
awakening for
brutal.
me about, yeah, about in Aquarius, because I don't necessarily think of an
Yes,
Aquarius as
Aquarius
a,
is a nice, friendly sign. I get what you're saying. Yeah. Well, Aquarius isn't nice, friendly. It has a nice, friendly possibility, but it also has a very controlling side. And Mars is going to be retrograde in 2027. We're going to have lots to talk about.
all right. So we'll definitely be back before a year.
Yeah, I hope so. It's fun.
But
Okay.
thanks for this. And I guess if anybody's interested, they can check out my website and maybe Julie can put that in the description below. I can put my website in and people
Hmm.
my courses and check out Julie's Patreon as well.
And is the best way to get in touch with you through texting or
Yeah,
emailing, or does it matter?
website, I have my phone number and I have my email address, and so that's the best way to contact me is through
That's on
that.
your website. Yeah. Okay. And yes, Patreon. I call my Patreon Astro Poetica. So it's Julie Simmons at Patreon, I guess, astrologer. There's probably other Julie Simmonses doing other things. Um, yeah, and you can always just send me an email if you want. Okay, so I
Great.
guess we'll say goodbye for now.
Yeah. Stay grounded.
Stay grounded. Yeah.